Alright, for our illusion project, our group was Mia Wang, Jerry Wu, and myself, Everett Munez, and we came up with the extremely creative name for our illusion, the Munez-Wang-Wu Illusion. Sort of based on the Mueller-Lyer illusion. Let's take a look at those two white lines. Which one of them is longer? The one on the front or the one in the rear? If you answered the one in the rear, much like my group mates and everyone else I have asked, you would be wrong. If you figured out that this was a trick question and answered that they are the same length, you would be right. However, even if you know that they are the same length, one cannot help but question it. Get a ruler, measure the two. I can assure you that they are the same. What makes this illusion work are the converging and diverging lines that give the illusion a sense of distance. When lines are converging towards the middle of the white line on the right, you perceive that this section is farther away. If you go from right to left and see the lines diverging towards the outside of the white line on the left, you perceive this section to be in the foreground. These factors throw most people off and make it appear that the line in the rear is longer.
We also incorporated the same idea onto the three trapezoids. Not only the two white lines are the same length, in fact, all the trapezoids you see in this picture are all the same length. Now, because of the diverging lines and the converging lines towards the middle or the sides of the trapezoids, the two on the right seem a bit longer than the one on the left, because the two on the right are a bit thinner than the ones on the left.
Our group also incorporated a color illusion based on the whites illusion, or the bezel effect. The same color appears differently when it is adjacent to different colors. As for what does our illusion teach us about perception, this illusion clearly shows that perception is largely based on expectation and memory. Think of a railroad track. As the track gets farther away into the distance, it appears to us that the lines are converging or getting closer together. Therefore, we associate convergence with farther in the distance. When objects are farther away in the distance, say a building, we know, based on prior experience and knowledge, that the object is larger than it appears. This is what makes the line in the rear appear larger, because we expect it to be. This shows that the top-down processing of memory influencing perception fails us sometimes and makes us incorrectly assume things about the world. This illusion also teaches us that our perception of brightness is influenced by the surroundings. The same shade of red next to a different adjacent colors becomes brighter or darker to our eyes. Next to a brighter color, the red seems brighter. Therefore, when a color is surrounded by brighter colors, it appears brighter. Similarly, the red seems darker next to a darker color. Therefore, when a color is surrounded by darker colors, it appears darker. Interestingly, we perceive the colors in areas when zoomed out. That causes the adjacent colors to blend slightly. For example, in our illusion, when the same red is next to the blue, it appears more purple, while when it is next to yellow, it appears more orange.
So how does this illusion connect to our mind and the brain? Our visual ability to perceive depth allows us to fall for this illusion. The images reflected in the two eyes will be compared to produce the final image we see. When the input from both eyes are compared, we perceive depth, and size and distance of objects are determined in relation to each other. Convergence upon one point allows us to see distance and depth. So the shape and the angle we see, the illusion, the image, can produce different perception. And the coloring part of the illusion can be explained because our eyes translate light into colors. For example, when we look at an apple, we see red because the surface of the apple reflects the wavelength that will appear red in our eyes. When we see white, it means all wavelengths are reflected, and when we see black, it means all wavelengths are absorbed. The retina in the eyes, they're covered with millions of light-sensitive cells, some shaped like rods and some are cones, and these receptors process light into nerve impulses and transfer the information to the cortex of the brain with optic nerves. Cones in the middle of the retina create the sensation of color. So looking at this illusion, why do we see the same colors differently? Just because the surroundings different. And there are 3 primary colors, red, green, and blue. To see other colors, we combine the different primary colors. For example, yellow would be green and red combined together. So therefore, when the same color is next to different color surrounding, we may perceive it differently by combining different colors together.
Because this illusion is based on Mueller-Lyer illusion, culture is most likely going to have a large influence on cognition. Now, I have showed this illusion to mostly weird participants, mostly because those were the people that were available to me. These are the people from industrialized countries and therefore have experience with converging and diverging angles. These angles are all around us, for example, in buildings and other structures. However, these angles may not be presented in less developed countries like the Amazon, for example. They will probably see these lines as the same length, like the Mueller-Lyer. This goes to show that culture plays a major role in forming cognition and how brain functions and understands the world.